Disappointment after the way we played last night to find ourselves in that sort of ball game that got away from us there in the middle. I thought Whitaker, he's given us all he's got. He gives it out of the pen. He's given it in his 2 starts, and he did a nice job. The ball's going to be in play, and Clemson did a nice job of handling at times what he was doing, and they made some good adjustments to his secondary pitches. We didn't have an answer for their lefties, and you could tell the guys we were working our way into some good counts, but I think the late movement that their starter had on the fastball, we never quite could calibrate how to let that thing travel enough to stay on it and drive it. Like, we were hitting it, we just were not hitting it with any authority. And then their next lefty, totally different metrics on his fastball. His fastball's got some life and climb, and those were 2, although they're both lefties, they were totally different looks. And we never really had an answer. The one moment we obviously were putting ourselves in position, they did a hidden ball trick. They did a nice job getting it back over there, and Cam unfortunately stepped off the bag, and that's what happened. And very difficult. Like, the middle part of that game was not pleasant in any stretch. And coming off how well we played last night, to have moments like we had in the game today and really no offensive true answer to it was very difficult.
Not much hitting with runners on base. I think it was 0 for 6 until Ben's hit the 9th.
Yeah. And again, I thought we were finding ourselves in some decent counts. 0-0 is a decent count, right? And anything less than 2 strikes for us, we try to treat with a different mindset and to have a little bit more aggression to try to drive baseballs. And we had some moments where we had opportunities, and just the contact was not good enough. Now, on the other side of that, that's probably the most line-outs I've seen us have in recent memory. Like, we did hit some balls, but there was nothing that resulted from the ones that we really did step on. So just very difficult, and some of the things that happened in the middle, like just tough. And some of these guys trying to learn like how to back up and where to go that are learning some things out there, and they showed up a little bit today.
On that hidden ball trick, I guess, is it just as simple as Cam stepping off the bag?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you always need to know where the ball is. And I think in that moment when we have that situation and are they going to have the infield in, and what options do we have, I think we all got a little lost in where that ball was, and they did a good job, and he didn't, the pitcher did a nice job of staying way off. The clock situation, I was getting to the point where the clock seemed like it was an issue, so you eventually have to get in the box and kind of get going. But that was a good heady play.
How pleased were you just with, I know you talked about the battle, but just also the efficiency and to get into the 8th inning there for you guys?
It's great. And Chuck really enjoys calling pitches for him, because you have 3 pitches in play. You have a fastball to both sides, the changeup, and you have the breaking ball, and he can throw it all to everybody. So it gives you some really good opportunities to call the game and pitch. And the ball's going to be in play, and that's fine. You have to defend it. And Whit he gives you all he's got. You trust him when he's out there in any role, and he's just been very tough and fun to have out there, and he controls the running game, and you feel like he's in control of the baseball game when he's pitching.
On that squeeze play they had when they scored 2, I guess, what'd you see there on that?
Yeah, like when you have the infield in, you got the option of, do you put that guy on and pitch to the next guy who was 2 for 2, and it looked like he was seeing it really well. So we thought it was just a little better matchup. But when you're in, like, you can get the lead, and we actually have that play. And when the ball is bunted soft, like, Nander knew exactly what was going on. But when the bunt is that precise and it's got the deadening action to it, where it becomes difficult because the guy at second base is able to get a really big lead. We did not like the matchup with the next guy who clearly had some good at bats, and that was just it's a good, well executed play, and they got a really good pitch to deaden it and put a nice bunt down.
Coach, excited to see just what these guys bring tomorrow morning to be able to maybe close the series out the right way.
Yeah, they'll be ready to go. It's tough. You could sense in the middle of that game after last night and how well we played really in all facets, to not have an offensive answer. You could sense the frustration, that frustration needs to lead to a little more heightened focus of, I think, what we were actually swinging at as that game progressed, because we didn't really look like we had a good enough approach that allowed us to really drive some more baseballs. Even though we did hit some good, but it clearly wasn't effective enough in just the calibration of what the fastball more than anything else looked like. So they'll be ready to go, and we'll sort out what options we have to pitch, and we'll get to a starter, and then I think we're more well prepared out of having some rest for some guys, whether it's a starter or out of the bullpen. I think we're in a little better shape tomorrow than maybe in this ball game.
Just how big is tomorrow's game in a rubber match? You're trying to win your first ACC series in the last 4 tries, just to come out tomorrow with intensity to try to get that one.
Well, it's huge, Brett, and every one of these games is big. And this one, it just mounts when you feel the way you feel after how this ball game went. So it's big, and this one was big, and last night was big. So I don't want to make too much of like what's going on tomorrow. It's how you play, and they know it's very important, and they know it's a best of 3, and they know it's a championship game that we're playing to win the series. They'll be ready to go. I mean, it's going to be early, and we'll get out there and do our work in the cage and take some ground balls, and these guys will be ready to go. We'll figure out who's on the mound, and they'll be prepared, and we'll go at it.